Hey guys, in this video I will be solving this challenge called collections.name tuple. So let's go. Here you can see there is a theory given to us. This is the link about collection.name.tuple. So you can look at the official doc about this method. So basically name tuples are easy to create, lightweight object types. They turn tuples into convenient containers for simple tasks. Okay, so they are basically a container of tuples. With name tuples, you don't have to use integer indices for accessing the member of the tuple. Okay, you don't have to use the indices value to access the members of tuple. For example, here you can see the library has been imported first. Then there is the variable called point, which is name tuple. The name is point, same, and the input will be given in this fashion, x and y. Okay, so they are making a tuple, and the container is my point. Point will be a bigger container, and inside that you will have different points of x and y. So if you, this is the way you define a name tuple, and this is the way you feed the value inside it. Okay, so you are calling this variable point, and you are giving the input 1 comma 2, that is 0.1. Similarly 3 and 4 you have given, and you call it as 0.2. Now you are creating a dot product variable. Inside that you are taking the dot product. So dot product of this guy is x into x plus y into y. So how it is accessing? See, 0.1x into 0.2x plus 0.1y into 0.2y. Okay, so the way it is accessing this is the benefit of using name tuple. Okay, so you just do dot x, it will give the x value, dot x value of this guy. So 3 into 1 plus 4 into 2, 4 to 8 plus 3, 11. Okay, so that is what it is written, print, and then you saw 11. Okay, so the you don't have to use actually integer indices to access the member. This is directly you can see, and in normal tuple you have to access through integer indices only. Okay, similarly you have another example where library has been called, library has been imported, then definition has been given, it's called car. Okay, and inside that you are making tuple of price, mileage, color, and class. So let's say you have a car XYZ, you call this variable car, and inside that you have feeded the data. Price is 1 tens 100 1 lakh rupees, and mileage is 30, color is cyan, class is y. That's how you are feeding, and you are calling it as your car XYZ. Okay, if you will print it, you will get this. You can see, and you can access any member, like you can access the class. So this is your class, so it will print y, and if you will do xyz dot color, it will print cyan here, and if you will do price, then it will print the price as well. Okay, so that's how you can use for small tasks. Now this is the theory given to us behind name tuple, and you can also read this guy if you want. And here what is our task? So our task is, Dr. John Weasley has spreadsheet containing a list of students, ID, marks, class, and name. Your task is to help Mr. Weasley, Dr. Weasley, to calculate the average marks of the students. So this is the guy we have to target, marks of students. Okay, and then we have to calculate the average, and column can be in any order. So they can be in any order. It looks ID, marks, class, and name, but it could be like name, class, then marks, and then ID. Okay, that's what they are saying. It can be in any order. Now next point is given, column names will be in capital letter. You can see uppercase it is, spelling will be like this always, and case time word change. So you can see it will be as it is, but shuffling can happen in column names. Okay, the input will be given as follows. The first line will contain integer n, that will give the total number of students. Second line will have the names of the column in any order. Then next line n9 contains marks, id, name, class under their respective column names, and n has to be between 0 to 100, that is constraint. Then we have to print the average marks, and we have to print up to 2 decimal places. Okay, then there is 2 test cases given to us. So n value is given in first line, which is 5. Then in next line this whole thing is given, which is the names of the column in any order. So here the order is id, marks, name and class. Here the order is marks, class, name and id. Here also n value is 5, and from next line onwards till n you will have the data. So id is given, then marks is given, name is given and classes are given. Here first marks is given, class is given, then name is given and then id is given. So there is shuffling in column. So we have to make use of this guy, name tuple, and we have to print the average. So for first case it is 78. If we'll calculate, add these guys, divide by 5. Similarly add these guys, divide by 5. Sorry, add these guys and divide by 5. You will get 78 and 81 up to 2 decimal places, you can see. Okay, now there is extra line given here. Can you solve this challenge in 4 lines of code or less? So it is challenging us to can you solve within 4 line or less. So if you will solve it, there is no extra marks. There is no penalty for solution that are correct but have more than 4 lines. So even if you are writing the code more than 4 lines, then also there is no penalty, it is acceptable. But this is just a challenge given by the author, that if possible write the code in 4 lines or less as well. Okay, so let's do it. So Python 3, I'll remove. So what first thing I'll do is I'll import the library, obviously. So library is this guy, from collection import name tuple, and then what I'll do is I'll write the constraint. If capital N, I'll define capital N first of all. So n is input, we have to take, right? Input dot split. Okay, split, and this will, I am writing it as n, but this will be in string form, list form. Okay, so I'll convert it into int, integer type. Okay, well let me do one more thing. I'll change the theme. I'll follow dark theme so that you can see easily, and plus I'll do this full screen so that everything will be visible, and I'll decrease zoom out so that you can see everything. Okay, so here you have question and test case, and here you have code, and if I'll run it, downside it will show the output. Okay, so this looks better. Everything is in one screen only. So let's do it. Our constraint is n has to be less than it should be between 0 and 100, right? So if it is less than 0 or n is greater than 100, then we have to print value of n is out of range. Okay, value of n is out of range. So if it is less than 0, equal to will also work. Okay, so here equal to should not be there. Less than equal to or it is greater than 100, it will not work. It will print value of n is out of range. Okay, so and then it will break. I'll import. Okay, it is not needed anyway. But still I'll do it. I'm actually very interested in sys import system, and from here onwards only you will say system dot exit. Okay, it will exit here only, so it won't go ahead and execute. It will just exit the program and finish it off. Okay, so this is our constraint. Now what we have to do is our input takes this, right? So let me write something called column name variable, and I'll take input and split it. Okay, split dot split, and it will already be in list. So let me print this. So column name and run it. So downside you will see the output, you can see. Okay, so integer must be a string, input dot split. Oh, what's the problem? Integer input dot split. Oh, input dot split will not be, it is single very input, right? So that's why. Okay, so here we can see that we are getting the column names. Okay, id marks. So we have two test cases. Here we are getting id marks name and class. In the second test case we are getting marks class name id. Okay, perfect. So now let me use this. So I'll keep it like this, and from next line onwards I will be having these guys, right? So let me make use of this n. So for loop I in range 0 to n, and inside that I'll print I. Okay, so I will go from 0 to n. Okay, 0 to 4. So plus 1. Okay, let me do like this, range n, then also it will work. So it is starting from 0 to 4. So this is also you can define if you have to go from 0 to n. Okay, now but I like from 1 to n actually, so I'll start with 1, n plus 1. I like to start from 1 only because it creates confusion in my head mostly. So 1 to 5. Okay, so 5 input we have to take, 1 2 3 4 5. So let's take it. So I'll write what student data variable, student data equals input dot split. Okay, so it will take this line and split it. Let me print so that you can see how it looks. So it will be in list form. Okay, so every time it will print. Let's see how it looks. So first this is the column name, and then you can see all the inputs are printed in each for loop. Okay, like this, like this, like this. Now what I can do is I have to use my tuple, right? So let me define it. So where it is, this is how it is defined, right? This is how it is defined. So I'll take Control C, Control V. After column name I have to define, right? So let me define here name tuple, and I'm naming it as students stds, and the way I am defining here is something called you can directly give it actually. Yeah, you can directly give this list as an input. Okay, remember this is in list form. So list also if you will give, it is fine. Here you can see, maybe it will be given, you see here the point name, then this name, and the input is given in list form. Okay, verbose is true means it will print something. Verbose is true, the class definition is printed just before being built. So class definition is being built because he gave true here. Okay. So that's how I define my tuple. Now let me use this, and how to access, I have to write the name. See how I have how to access, you have to write the name and you have to feed the data, then you can use it. So what I'll do is I'll use students, my new variable, and I'll append the data students, and I'll feed the input students. I'll define here like this, it will be everything fine. Now I have to give this guy input. Now how I have to give input is you can give in this fashion, stds dot dash make list, whatever the list, this will be in list form, right? This we have seen previously. See, this is in list form, so I'll give the list here. So by make is the way okay, so make is a way actually to make the content, like this is the, here he made a 0.1 and 0.2, right? That's how it will make. So you can directly pass whole list here. That's the beauty of make. Let me print it so that you can see what it is generating. Students. Okay, so now I want let me print everything. So here you can see our let me zoom out. Now you can see better, right? This is our column, and every time it is appending one student data into students. This is my list, right? So finally what I'm getting is this list of 5 guys. ID is 1 2 3 4. Automatically it has feeded all the values, right? 197, then Raymond and class. Let's look at the second test case as well. So here also you are getting marks properly here, then class also, name also, it is fine, means like shuffling is handled in this way. So that's how the beauty of tuple is, you can see. Now let me use the data of students. So what I'll do is I'll write marks average we have to calculate. So marks equal to marks plus int marks we have to extract. So how we can extract, like this, xyz dot class, right? So we have to extract what, marks, capital marks. Okay, so students dot capital marks. Okay, let me print marks is 0 initially. Okay, marks is 0 initially, so it will keep on adding the marks of each and every student. Not mark, this is I. Okay, list index is out of range, students I. Oh, okay, so we are starting with 1, right? That's why. So let me do, it's student is a list, right? So it starts from 0. So now it should work properly. Okay, so we have not printed it. print marks. So you can see 97, then 97 plus 50 is 147, then plus 91 is 238. Likewise, finally you are getting 390. I think it should be in float, right? So let me change it to float because we want data in float. So here now we are having in float. Okay, so what we have to do is now every time we are able to get marks, right? So finally here outside this for loop we'll have we will have the marks. So let me print marks divided by number of students, so that is n. So let me print this. So 78.0, yeah, it is correct, 78.0. let me do it for 2 decimal places. So how, I forgot actually. So it is like this, right? Dot to 2 decimal places, percentage f, percentage, right? This is how it is run. So no, this is not the way. Percent f, like this it is, I think, then percentage. Okay, I have to search. Print up to 2 decimal places in Python. What's the command? Percentage f, this is the command, so I always forget. So it is what? Percentage is in front. Okay, percentage is in front. That was the mistake. Everything was same. So let's run it. So we are getting our output. Okay, so let me comment these guys so that it is working or not. Let me check. Print, what else is there? Right, correct. So yeah, congratulations, we have done it. Both the test cases are passed, and we have taken care of our constraint as well. So let me submit it. All the test cases are passed. Congratulations. Oh, we have become a 5-star. Double congratulations. Okay, so what is one thing I want to show here is even if I will remove this guy, I don't think they will check. So constraint I am removing. Let me remove it. Let me run now. So yeah, sample test cases are passed. Even, yeah, so everything is passed. So even if I won't write it, it's fine. Now let's do this thing, where it is telling us to write the code in here. Write the code in 4 lines or less, right? So let me try it. So here what things we can remove. So library we have to do, right? So one line will be taken by this guy. There is no substitute. Now what I can do is I can take the input here only, so no need to define the column name, right? Let me do this guy. Let me define here only, take the input, and there is no column name now. Okay, so let me run it. Yeah, it is working. Okay, So now what else we can do is we can combine these two lines as well, right? I'll write comma and I'll take this whole input, control V, and I'll write in the same line only we are taking the inputs stds, right? So we are taking the input of n as well as the first and second line input we are taking in this second line. Okay, so I can remove this as well. Okay, we have this as first line, second line we are remaining with two lines only. So somehow we have to remove the dependency on this for loop, right? So we have to reduce the line. So I can only think of list comprehension. That's the only way we can do it, right? So what we can do is we can separate out the addition part and the taking input parts, because both of them I can't do it in the same line. So this part input we will take in one line, and then in the next line we will do the addition of we will take the average of all these guys. So how should I? Okay, so here also we can directly put it, right? Control X. Okay, we have not checked it. Let me check. Yeah, it is working. Yeah, working fine. Now let me remove this guy and directly we will feed here. Okay, I can remove this. Now I don't want this append thing, right? So list comprehension we have to use. So I'll put the, for some time I am commenting these guys. This also I'll comment. Also I'll comment. Now let me use this in list comprehension. So student I am writing, inside this I will have this for loop, and what expression for loop, and what expression I have to execute I have to write here. So this expression I have to use, but I have to use only this. Okay, so I'm not appending it every time, it is appending it on its own. Then I can remove this whole thing. Let me print students. So it is taking the input, making a row and appending it to students every iteration. Okay, that's how it is working. Let's run it. So yeah, we can see that each row it is appending everything. So first, second, third element, then fourth element, then fifth element. So we have our data in third line. Now in fourth line I'll use the average thing. So for that also I'll use list comprehension. That's the only way we can take the. So let me take this same thing, and I'll define min marks. So marks. Now what do I have to do is I have to take the value of students and dot, what do I want? Marks, but each student. Okay, so I'll do, but I is starting from 1, so let me start with 0 here, no issues, and it will keep on appending the marks. Okay, let's see that. Okay, I have not printed it. Print marks. Okay, so we can see that they are in list form. Here 97, 50, 91, 97, 50, 91, 70 to 80, 70 to 80. Let's look at here. So marks is 92, 82, 92, 82, 94, 94, 55, 55, 82. Yeah, working fine. So now we have taken the marks. Let me convert it into float also. Float. Okay, float, marks will be in float. Now let's print. So we have everything in float. So what we have to do is we have to sum these each element. So we have to take the sum of the elements. So what I'll do is I'll put the sum here outside. Sum of everything. Whatever we are getting inside the square bracket. Okay. Now let's print the marks. So sum of everything will be 390. Okay. Now we can divide everything by n, right? So here only I'll divide by n, capital N. Okay. So now it should come as average. So we are getting the average. Now I'll use the print statement, this guy. So let's take this and take here, and what I'll do is I'll remove this. Whatever is inside this, I'll print marks. Okay, so it will be 2 decimal places. Okay, 2 decimal places. Now we have to concise it into 4 line. So what I can do is, instead of this marks, I can remove and I can write the whole expression here only. Okay, here only I'll write it, and this line I can remove. Okay, so this is my print, and this student also I can remove. So now we are concise with 4 line. So yeah, we can write it in 4 lines. Let's check. So its sample test case is pass. Okay, so we are passed with all the test cases. So this was a nice easy example, but they gave a challenge of writing it in 4 lines. That was good. So here you applied list comprehension. We have done in one of the assignments, one of the challenges, initial challenges was list comprehension. So they made a use of list comprehension here. 2 times actually I have used it, and here we have taken the input in single line and library we have defined. Okay, so that is very clean and concise code rather than what I have written in the beginning. So yeah, this was it. I'll exit the full screen. So hopefully you have liked this challenge, and I will see you guys in the next challenge.